was a classroom locked away on the third floor. A place where time refuses to move on. A chalkboard that remembers every soul the world has forgotten. 10 years ago, Class 2 to 4 vanished without a trace. Their teacher, Ms. Ayame, remained, trapped by the curse. Now the door opens again. And anyone whose name appears in red chalk, greater than, will be erased from existence. Welcome to Room 4. The classroom that writes its own victims. Chapter 1. The Forgotten Classroom. Sora no Mori Middle School stood quietly on the outskirts of the city. Surrounded by dense forests that seemed to swallow the last rays of sunlight every evening. Once known for its excellent academic reputation, the school suddenly shut down without warning. Parents were confused, students terrified. No one knew the truth. Only a rumor circulated. Greater than one entire class had vanished, without a trace. 10 years passed. The city grew crowded again, and the school was reopened for a new generation of students. Renovations took place everywhere. Fresh coats of paint on every wall. New desks and chairs in every room. Every classroom restored. Except one. Room 4, 3rd floor, Building B. The door was sealed with rusty chains. A faded warning sign hung crookedly. Greater than, do not enter. Dangerous. But because it was forbidden, rumors only grew louder. Greater than, the chalkboard writes a student's name every night. It's haunted by the erased. When your name appears, you disappear forever? Akira Shimizu, a newly transferred student, bold and curious, heard the whispers even before the first day of school. He never believed in ghosts. Probably just some prank to scare weak-hearted kids, he thought. On the gloomy, wind-howling opening day, Akira was placed in Class 3 to 2. He quickly made 2 new friends. Mina, always smiling, always eager to explore. Ken, brave on the outside, reckless on the inside. During recess, Ken nudged Akira with a mischievous grin. "Want to see that ghost chalkboard everyone's talking about? It's up on the 3rd floor." Mina hesitated. "I heard, if your name appears, you disappear like them?" Ken laughed it off. "Come on." As if ghosts write names with chalk. But excitement mixed with fear led them up the stairs. The higher they climbed, the colder it became. Lights flickered overhead, threatening to go dark. Finally, they stood before Room 4. The chains looked strong, but also strangely loose. Ken wiped dust from the small window, and that was when all 3 heard it. Greater than, scree, scree, scree. The sound of chalk writing. Ken pressed the door. It creaked open, despite the chains dangling uselessly. A blast of cold, stale air hit them. Inside, the room was dark. Dust caked every surface. Desks were arranged as if students had just been there, long ago. And then they saw it. The chalkboard at the far end of the room. No one was there. But fresh writing appeared as if a hand, invisible and impatient, was still holding the chalk. Greater than, WHO will leave first? Below it, a single name written in blood-red chalk. Greater than, Kenji Ito. Ken's face went pale. Who the hell is that? Akira felt his heartbeat pounding in his ears. There was no student named Kenji Ito on the school roster. Not now. Not ever. Mina whispered, trembling. What if that's the name of someone who disappeared before? Then, slam. The door behind them shut itself. The chalkboard trembled slightly, as if it were breathing. Right at that moment, their nightmare truly began. Chapter 2. The name appears on the board. None of the 3 said a word, but they all knew they had crossed a line they shouldn't have. Akira's heart hammered in his chest, a warning that something terrible was watching them. Yet his feet refused to move. The name, Kenji Ito, on the chalkboard seemed to pulse in the darkness. The red strokes were jagged and carved deep into the board, like someone wrote it with hatred and despair instead of chalk. A slow drip, drip, of dark red chalk dust, or was it blood? Trickled down beneath the name. Ken tried to laugh it off, but his voice cracked. Just someone trying to freak us out, creepy though. But his trembling lips and stiff posture betrayed the fear in his bones. Mina's voice shook. We should go, please, now. just as Akira nodded. Greater than scree, scree, scree. The chalkboard began writing again. All three froze. No hand, no person, but chalk scraped hard across the board. A new letter appeared. K. Ken stumbled backward in shock, hitting a desk with a loud clack. Another letter. E. Greater than Ken. Ken's breathing turned ragged. This isn't funny anymore. Akira felt a chill crawl up his spine. The desks behind him rattled lightly, as if dozens of unseen students sat there, watching. The chalk kept moving. NJ. I. 2. Then, a violent slash tore across the first name. Greater than. And the chalk, now white, slowly rewrote the entire name beneath it. Greater than Kenji Ito. Then another brutal slash. It was like the board was erasing someone's existence over and over again. Mina whispered through tears. It's rewriting him, deleting him. Ken could barely breathe. Suddenly, the door flew open on its own. Ken didn't think. He grabbed Akira and Mina, and all three sprinted out of the room like the dead were chasing them. Once outside, they slammed against the wall and stared at the door. Room 4 was silent again. The chalkboard invisible from where they stood. As if everything had been just a cruel hallucination. But Akira saw something the others didn't. Through the tiny window, a figure stood beside the board. A long, crooked smile twisting across its face. Holding a piece of red chalk. Watching. Akira squeezed his eyes shut. From that moment on, they knew. Greater than that room didn't belong to the living. And Ken had been chosen. Chapter 3, The Scratching at Midnight. That night, Akira lay in bed wide awake. The room was dim, only faintly lit by the street lamp outside his window. The ticking of the clock echoed like drops of water in a cave, slow, heavy, and suffocating. Ever since they left room 4, the sound of chalk scratching the board had burned itself into his mind. Greater than scree, scree, scree. He told himself over and over to forget it. But the words, next, Ken, flashed in front of his eyes every time he blinked. He rolled over, trying to calm his thoughts. His phone vibrated, a message from Ken, sent at 10 p.m. Greater than Ken. Do you hear it? I keep hearing chalk writing. Akira jolted upright. Ken heard chalk writing too? He quickly replied. Greater than Akira. Where are you? Don't tell me you went back up there. No reply. A wave of dread washed over him. Akira set his phone aside. Then froze. Greater than scree, scree, scree. The sound was now inside his room. His heart seized in his chest. He slowly flicked on the lamp. Everything looked normal. But the scratching didn't stop. It grew closer. Akira turned his eyes downward. Toward the floor beneath his bed. Words were appearing on the wooden boards, carved by an invisible force. Greater than Kenji Ito has arrived. Next, Ken. Red liquid seeped from the letters, dripping like fresh blood. Akira stumbled backward with a strangled scream. No, 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 no. His phone suddenly rang, Ken calling. Akira snatched it up. Ken, where are you? Answer me. Silence. Then, the scratching sound returned, through the phone. Greater than scree, 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 scree. Ken, please, say something. Finally, a whisper. Greater than, someone is writing my name. The call cut off. Akira tried calling again, hands trembling, but the line was dead. He bolted for the door, desperate to get help, but the moment he opened it, he nearly screamed. On the hallway wall outside his room, written in smeared red, greater than you will be written too. Do not open your door again. The house fell silent. Then, greater than scratch, scratch, scratch. A pale hand slid under the bottom of his door. Its skin bluish and swollen like it had soaked in water too long. Its cracked nails screeched against the floor, leaving deep claw marks. Akira collapsed backward, shaking violently. The hand retreated. Silence returned. But new words had appeared on the door, carved by those bloody nails. Greater than to be forgotten. is worse than death. Akira curled into a corner, tears streaming down his face. Because he knew. Ken was being dragged away piece by piece. Out of sight. Out of memory. Out of existence. And soon, greater than Akira would be next. Outside the door, a small voice whispered, "Greater than, come to class." Akira? Chapter 4, Disappearance. The next morning, Akira arrived at school exhausted, dark circles under his eyes. He prayed that everything had been a bad dream, that Ken would show up, laugh, and say he was joking all along. But when he walked into class, Ken's desk was empty. His bag was gone. The chair neatly tucked in, as if he had never sat there at all. Mina rushed in behind Akira. "Where's Ken? He hasn't replied to any of my messages." No one knew anything. Moments later, the homeroom teacher walked in, worry shadowing his face. "Everyone, Ken disappeared last night. His family has reported it to the police. If any of you know something, please come to me." The class erupted in murmurs. But Akira felt ice spread through his veins. He knew. Ken hadn't merely disappeared. The chalkboard had taken him. The teacher tried to continue the lesson, but the classroom felt suffocating, as if the air itself was afraid of the truth. During recess, Mina pulled Akira out into the hallway, her voice trembling. "We have to go up there. Ken might still be there, hiding, waiting for us." Akira shook his head instantly. "No. That's why he disappeared. We can't." Her eyes glistened with fear and determination. "If we don't do anything, you'll be next." Akira. Before he could respond. Boom. A violent crash echoed from the third floor. Students screamed in the yard below. Teachers rushed toward the stairs. Akira and Mina looked up. Dust fell from the ceiling like gray snow. Someone whispered. A piece of the wall just collapsed from inside. Akira and Mina locked eyes. Greater than room 4 was trying to break free. Classes ended early. On his way out, a drizzle began, cold rain that soaked through his skin and bones. Suddenly, Mina gasped, "Akira, look." She pointed at the bulletin board by the gate. A newly printed seating chart for Class 3 to 2. Ken's name was gone. The space where he sat now bore a single new name, written in red. Greater than Akira Shimizu. Akira's blood ran cold. Mina staggered backward. They're rearranging the list. "It's your turn now." A gust of wind swept past them, carrying a whisper from somewhere far above. "Greater than, don't let the board write your name." Akira looked up at the third floor. Through a dusty window, a dark figure stood beside the chalkboard, staring down at him. And at that moment, Akira finally understood. Ken was not missing. He had been erased. And the board had already chosen. Who would replace him? Chapter 5, The Hidden Truth. The wind howled through the hallways that afternoon, a chilling reminder that something monstrous still lurked within the school. Akira and Mina followed the old janitor woman down to a dim corridor where few dared to go. Their footsteps echoed like they were walking deeper into a grave. At the end stood a battered metal door, greater than the old document storage room. The janitor pulled out a rusted key, hands trembling as she unlocked it. The door screeched open, as if warning them not to enter. The smell hit first. Mold, rot, and something else. Like fear trapped too long. Inside were rows of towering file cabinets, leaning ominously forward. Walls scarred with long scratch marks. Something had clawed them in desperation. The janitor's voice lowered to a whisper. "Greater than, this place keeps what the chalkboard couldn't erase." She lit a tiny oil lamp on the desk. The flickering flame cast twisted shadows, forming silhouettes that resembled children reaching out. Mina squeezed Akira's hand tight. "What exactly are we searching for?" The janitor unlocked one cabinet and slowly pulled out a black storage box. The label, faded and peeling. Greater than missing students, Class 2 to 4. Akira's heart pounded. She opened the box. Inside, a stack of worn papers and a tattered yearbook. As Akira flipped through the pages, his hands shook. Photos of Class 2 to 4. Every student's face was scratched out. Deep gouges where eyes and smiles should have been. Pages smeared with red stains. Only one face remained untouched. A young teacher, warm smile. Long black hair, gentle stance. Ms. Ayame. Mina choked on her words. So, she really was the teacher of the missing class. Akira's throat tightened. The name Ayame, like a curse, kept returning. The janitor spoke, tears welling in her cloudy eyes. Greater than, when a name is erased from the board, their face disappears too. Memory is their existence. Without it, they become nothing. Akira turned another page. A confidential report, stamped, secret. Greater than March 17th. School temporarily closed due to unusual incident in room 4. Third floor. Class 2 to 4, no longer exists. Not missing. Not dead. Greater than erased. Suddenly, the oil lamp flickered violently. Darkness swallowed the room whole. Tap, tap, tap? A voice like a child's whisper crawled out from the walls. Greater than, give us back our place. The chalk scraping sound returned, though no chalkboard was present. Scree, scree? Mina whimpered. We need to leave, now. The janitor slammed the yearbook shut. Greater than, don't let them pull you in. Once the board writes your name, your soul is lost forever. Bam! The door slammed shut behind them. Locked. Dozens of faceless silhouettes appeared between the shelves. Mouths open wide, begging, screaming. Greater than, stay with us. You can be forgotten too. The oil lamp died. The walls erupted in bloody handprints, pounding to break out. Run, the janitor shrieked. Some invisible force flung the door open again. The three scrambled out, tumbling into the hallway gasping for air. The storage room door slowly closed by itself, sealing away the darkness that now knew their names. Akira clutched the stolen yearbook to his chest. The forgotten ones had seen him. And now, they would never let him leave. Chapter 6. The Hands Beneath the Desks. The next morning, Akira dragged himself to school, hands shaking from everything that had happened. Ken's empty desk haunted him like a missing tooth that made the whole smile feel wrong. Mina sat beside Akira, eyes swollen and distant, staring at the newly reassigned seating. Ken's desk had been completely removed. Akira's desk pushed up one seat, exactly as the seating chart demanded. No questions asked. Not a single student in class seemed to even remember a boy named Ken. Creeping dread settled over Akira's skin like frost. He wasn't just afraid for himself anymore. He was terrified for everyone, because ignorance was the real curse. Their homeroom teacher Lady Mariko entered, forcing a strained smile. Everyone, settle down, let's begin class. Her voice lacked warmth, just a tired plea to keep things normal when nothing was anymore. Akira tried to focus on his textbook. But then, tap. Something touched his leg. Akira stiffened. Slowly, he looked under his desk. Nothing. He forced a breath, a tiny relief. Scratch, scratch. Cold fingers wrapped around his ankle. Akira lurched up with a scream as he toppled backward, chair crashing loudly. The classroom froze. All eyes turned to him, confused, unafraid. Mina ran to his side. Akira, what happened? Akira's voice cracked. Something grabbed me, from under the desk, it. He pointed beneath the desk. But the thing that touched him was gone. Lady Mariko hurried over, but there was no pity in her eyes, only fear. Greater than, did you feel them? Akira swallowed. What, who? She leaned close, whispering so quietly only he could hear. Greater than, the erased ones. They're jealous of the living. Akira felt his blood turn to ice. Then, a new sensation. Dozens of tiny fingers pressed upward from the floor, stretching the wood like thin skin. Akira's breath hitched. Phantom hands emerged silently. Dozens of them, pale, wrinkled, desperate, clawing their way up from the hidden darkness. They dragged across the floor beneath every desk. Only Akira could see them. Only he could feel their hunger. Mina squeezed his hand. Akira? You're scaring me? Before he could respond, the chalkboard at the front of the class shuddered. White chalk lifted on its own. And slowly, painfully. Greater than Akira, you're next. Lady Mariko slammed her hand against the board. The chalk dropped instantly. She breathed heavily, whispering, greater than, don't draw attention, or it will come sooner. Akira stared at her, shaking. You know about the board? Why don't you stop it? Her eyes gleamed with years of buried trauma. Greater than, because once a name is chosen, even God cannot erase it. The bell rang, but the air didn't lighten. Under every desk, the unseen hands twitched. Greater than waiting for class to end, so they could finish their pull. Akira pressed his sweating palms against the desk, unable to calm his racing heart. He finally understood. Not only did the chalkboard want him, greater than every erased child, now wanted him to take their place. Chapter 7, The Archive Room. That afternoon, Akira and Mina followed the trembling janitor down a deserted hallway toward the darkest corner of the school, a place few even realized existed. Their footsteps echoed like whispers from buried graves. At the end stood a rusted metal door marked, greater than archive storage, do not open. The janitor's fingers shook as she inserted a key. The lock screeched and the door groaned open. A wave of stale, moldy air spilled out, thick with the stench of old secrets. Inside, file cabinets towered like tombstones, their drawers dented and stained. Scratch marks lined the walls, like someone trapped inside had clawed for freedom. The janitor lit a tiny oil lantern. Its quivering flame cast monstrous shadows, the shapes of children stretching their arms through the dark. Mina gripped Akira's sleeve tightly. Why would anyone keep a place like this? The janitor whispered. Greater than, because erasing memories doesn't mean they disappear. They gather. And they wait. She pulled out a black archive box, the label faded, almost ripped off. Greater than class 2 to 4, missing students. Akira's pulse thundered in his ears. Inside, old reports, photocopies, files stamped confidential, and a damaged yearbook. Akira flipped it open. Mina gasped and covered her mouth. Every student picture, greater than their faces, were shredded and scraped off, leaving only blank silhouettes wearing uniforms. Only one identity remained untouched. Homeroom teacher, Iyame. Her smile gentle, her presence haunting. Akira whispered. They didn't just disappear, someone erased them on purpose. The janitor nodded, eyes full of regret. Greater than, the day they vanished. I was the one who cleaned this classroom. The desks were still warm. She swallowed hard, voice trembling. Greater than, when the board writes a name in red, that name is removed from existence. Mina's voice barely escaped her lips. Removed from existence. The janitor turned a page. There lay a paper, torn and smudged, the words frantic. Greater than help US. We're still here. Inside. The sentence broke off, violently ripped away. A chill swept through the room. The lantern flickered. Then, darkness. Low whispers seeped from the walls. Greater than, return our place. Let us sit again. Trade places with us. The scraping of chalk echoed from nowhere. Greater than scree. Mina clung to Akira. They found us. Dozens of faceless figures emerged between the file cabinets. Their mouths open in silent agony. Hands reaching with desperation, not to hurt, but to be seen. The janitor hissed. Greater than, don't let them touch you. If they grab you, they'll drag you into their darkness. Mina screamed as a pale hand brushed her ankle. Akira yanked her away, adrenaline burning through his fear. The door slammed shut. No escape. Then, a violent burst of air blasted the door open again. Run, the janitor shrieked. The three bolted out, stumbling over each other. The door behind them slowly creaked shut, like a mouth swallowing fresh prey. The janitor slammed her back against the wall, chest heaving. They know your names now. You've been marked. Akira realized he was still clutching the yearbook. The Forgotten knew who he was, and they wanted a trade. Chapter 8: The Whispering Voices. That night, Akira sat at his desk, staring at the forbidden yearbook he had taken from the archive room. His room felt colder than usual, the shadows stretched longer, darker. The wind outside whispered against the window. But there was a different whisper inside his room. A soft, chilling murmur. Greater than, he's chosen. Don't run. Akira froze. The voice was coming from his chalkboard, the one hanging on the wall beside his desk. No one was there, yet chalk scraped against its surface. Greater than scree, scree, scree. Akira's blood turned to ice. White strokes appeared, letters forming a name. Greater than Akira Shimizu. The final letter was barely written when his phone rang. Mina was calling, video chat. Akira answered immediately. Mina, something's wrong, the board. But Mina was crying, her voice raw with terror. Akira, I saw Ken. The screen shook as she turned her phone toward her bedroom door, slightly open. In the hallway, a boy stood facing the wall. Short hair, school uniform, shoulders trembling as if he were crying. Mina whispered, Ken. The boy's head rotated 180 degrees without moving his body. His face had no eyes. Only a mouth, stretched unnaturally wide, dripping dark liquid. Akira shouted, Mina, that's not Ken. Get away from the door. The phone slipped from Mina's hands, the camera landed sideways. Then a voice, distorted and unnatural, crept through the speaker. Greater than, Akira? We will finish writing your name. The screen went black. Akira's breath shattered into frantic gasps. Suddenly, clomp, 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 knocking at his bedroom door. Slow, deliberate. Akira backed away, eyes wide. A child's voice whispered playfully, Akira, open the door. It's cold out here. The knock intensified. Clomp, clomp, clomp. The door shook violently, like something desperate was slamming itself against it. Then, silence. Akira dared to look at the chalkboard again. A second line appeared beneath his name. Greater than you have been chosen. Next, Akira Shimizu. A bead of red rolled down the letters. Blood. All lights in his room shut off at once. Darkness swallowed him. Dozens of whispering voices circled him, breathing into his ear. Greater than, come back to class. We miss you. Join us in the dark. Let us remember you. Akira screamed, but no sound escaped his throat. Suddenly, another voice, not whispering, but laughing, echoed from the chalkboard. Greater than, tomorrow? We'll see you in class. His knees buckled, and he fainted as the room faded into shadows. Chapter 9: The Door You Must Not Open. Akira woke up drenched in cold sweat. His room was silent. The chalkboard looked normal, as if no writing had ever appeared on it. But the terror from last night still gnawed at his bones. Despite Mina's warning, Akira went to school, because something worse than fear haunted him. Greater than the thought of Mina facing this alone. Throughout class, Akira kept glancing at the clock. The hands seemed to crawl slowly toward the inevitable moment. When the school day ended and the halls thinned out, Mina rushed to him. Akira, please, let's go home before dark. But before Akira could respond, greater than a scream, from the third floor, from room 4, Akira and Mina sprinted upstairs, hearts pounding. The door of room 4 was rattling violently. Someone inside was beating it with their fists. Greater than, help me. Open the door. Please. Akira recognized that voice. Greater than Ken. Mina grabbed his wrist. No. That's not him. It can't be. Ken's sobbing voice grew more desperate. Akira. Mina, I'm so scared. Why did you leave me? Akira stepped toward the door, tears burning in his eyes. Ken, I'm here. Hold on. I'll help you. He reached for the handle. Mina screamed. Akira, don't. But the voice inside choked and begged. Greater than, please. It's dark. It hurts. I don't want to disappear. Akira's shaking hand gripped the doorknob. He turned it. Click. Mina gasped. You shouldn't have opened it. The door swung open. Darkness greeted them, thick and alive. Inside the room? Nothing. No Ken. No movement. No sound. Just dust and heavy silence. They stepped inside cautiously. When suddenly, slam. The door shut on its own behind them, locking instantly. Mina screamed and pounded it. Let us out. Akira turned toward the chalkboard, trembling. Words formed in blood-red chalk. Greater than next to be erased. Akira Shimizu. Then below it. Greater than Mina, selected. No, take me instead. Akira screamed, punching the board. The chalkboard quaked. Then the entire floor cracked open beneath them. Akira grabbed Mina, but hands, dozens of pale, dead hands, erupted from the darkness below. They grabbed Mina's ankles, clawing, pulling, tearing. Mina shrieked, Akira, don't let go. Akira held on with every ounce of strength left in his body. I won't lose you too. I won't. Mina's fingers slipped, her body dragging deeper into the abyss. She looked up, eyes full of sorrow. Greater than, if I disappear, please remember I existed? Akira screamed until his voice broke. Me-na. And then, she was gone. The hole sealed shut as if it had never been there. Mina's desk vanished. Her name, gone from every student's memory. On the board, a final message appeared. Greater than one replacement complete. Next, Akira. Akira collapsed to the floor, smashing his fists into the wood. Blood soaking his hands. His only friend left was now swallowed by darkness and forgetting. Then, a cold hand touched his shoulder. A soft, gentle voice, that did not belong to the living, whispered. Greater than, your seat is waiting. Akira. He turned, paralyzed. Standing behind him was Ms. Ayame. Her smile widened. Her eyes bottomless. Greater than, come join the class. Chapter 10. The Teacher Who Never Grew Older. Ms. Ayame stood before Akira, wearing an immaculate, old-fashioned teacher's outfit as if she had walked out of a decade-old photograph. Her long black hair draped down her shoulders like a dark veil. But the most terrifying detail. Greater than her eyes had no pupils. Just endless black voids. A shiver bolted down Akira's spine as she leaned toward him with a sweet but hollow voice. Greater than, go to your seat. Akira. He stumbled backward, slamming into the wall. His heart pounded as if trying to claw out of his chest. Ayame took a step closer, and the air chilled, heavy enough to crush the living. The sharp smell of chalk and dried blood clung to her presence. Akira's voice cracked with desperation. What did you do to Mina? Bring her back. Ayame tilted her head, her smile stretching unnaturally wide. Greater than, she has returned to her rightful place. She is with us now. Where she belongs. Returned. Akira's voice shook. I don't believe you. Ayame lifted a pale hand, fingers too long, too sharp. She whispered like a lullaby. Greater than, nothing hurts more than being forgotten. I am simply protecting my students from vanishing completely. Akira clenched his fists, trembling. Protecting them, you're torturing them. Ayame laughed, soft and broken, a glitching chorus of children and a woman tangled together. Greater than, I kept my promise. A teacher must never abandon her class. Suddenly, bam! The classroom door burst open. Ms. Mariko, the current homeroom teacher, stood there, breathless, horror in her eyes. Ayame, stop this. Ayame turned slowly, shadows dripping from her fingers like ink. Greater than, Mariko? You forgot, didn't you? You left us behind. Mariko recoiled, shaking violently. No, I had no choice. Ayame's voice dropped to a vicious growl. Greater than, you betrayed your classmates. You abandoned your teacher. The chalkboard shattered outward, splintering like a glass window into another world. A child's distorted face appeared inside the darkness of the board, screaming. Mariko collapsed to her knees. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to forget them. I didn't want to leave. Akira stared at her, stunned. You were in class 2 to 4? Mariko covered her face, sobbing. I was the only one who got away. But to survive, I had to forget everyone. Ayame extended a finger, pointing at Akira. Greater than, now it's your turn to take her place. Phantom hands erupted from beneath the desks, clamping onto Akira's legs, cold, skeletal, merciless. Desks rattled violently. The classroom lights dimmed to a sickly red glow. Ayame's voice thundered. Greater than, the class will be complete again. Sit down, Akira. Her grin widened like a crack splitting her skull. Greater than, you have no right to refuse. The hands pulled harder, dragging Akira toward the empty chair that had once belonged to Ken. Then Mina. Akira clawed at the floor, screaming, No, I refuse to disappear. Ayame stood tall, victorious, her shadow stretching across the room like a cloak of nightmares. Greater than, to this classroom. You are not disappearing. You are replacing. Chapter 11, The Reign of Red Chalk. Just as Ayame's fingers were about to clamp onto Akira's shoulder, the classroom lights flickered violently. A wave of shrill screeching rose from the chalkboard, like 100 children screaming without mouths. Crash. Windows shattered in an instant. A gust of freezing air swept through the room, dragging countless broken pieces of chalk inside. But these chalk fragments were greater than red. They rained down like droplets of blood. When they hit the floor, they cracked open, revealing what looked disturbingly like tiny pieces of bone inside. Mariko clamped a hand over her mouth. No, the erased ones are angry. Akira stared in horror at the schoolyard below. In the middle of the rain, greater than Mina stood alone. Her uniform tattered, her skin pale, her head tilted unnaturally to one side. Several bone-like chalk shards were embedded in her arms and legs. And she was looking straight at him. Mina, Akira whispered, heartbreaking. Mina moved, stiff, lifeless steps, as if strings jerked her forward. The ground beneath her lit up with a glowing red arrow, guiding her toward the staircase leading up to the 3rd floor. Mariko's voice shook violently. If she comes up here, she will bring the rest of them with her. Ayame turned, her expression changing into pure delight. Greater than, exactly. Our class reunion begins now. The back wall split open. A jagged crack like a mouth stretching wide. From it, hands poured out. Tiny, pale hands, with chipped nails, and the strength of those who had suffered too long. Akira stepped back. No, what are you doing to them? Ayame smiled, voice dripping with triumph. Greater than, the world abandoned them. I am giving them purpose again. The children's torn voices echoed around the classroom. Greater than, let us sit again. Let us be seen. Let us live. Akira's knees weakened as Mina appeared at the doorway. Her eyes blank, but tears were falling. Blood-red tears. She lifted a shaking hand and pressed her finger to her cheek. Writing in crimson. Greater than A. K-I-R-A. Mina, please? Akira pleaded, voice cracking. You're still in there. Don't write my name. Ayame's whisper slithered into his ear. Greater than, she remembers you. Isn't that sweet? Mina's lips parted, voice echoing with layered, fractured tones. Greater than, come. So we don't forget you too. The desks slammed against each other, forming rows. A complete classroom, ready for its final student. Ayame stretched out her arms. Greater than, our class is almost complete. Isn't this beautiful? The lights turned blood red. The rain of red chalk fell harder than ever, like a storm of shattered names. Akira held onto his last breath, swallowed by despair. He realized the horrible truth. Greater than once the chalkboard finished the attendance. No one would remember any of them ever existed. And Akira would become nothing more than another name, scratched away. In the dark, Chapter 12, The Abyss Behind the Board. The classroom trembled like a dying beast. Ayame stood proudly before the chalkboard, arms spread wide, as if welcoming the end of the world. Beneath Akira's feet, the floor began to split. The cracks widened, releasing a suffocating darkness that swallowed the light whole. A chilling wind rose from the depths, the breath of forgotten souls. Akira staggered backward. No, no, let me go. Mariko rushed over and grabbed his arm. Don't let them pull you in. If you fall down there, you'll never come back. Ayame's laughter echoed through the room, fractured like broken glass. Greater than, that is where they belong. In the world without names. The chalkboard creaked loudly, its surface tearing apart like ripping flesh. Behind it wasn't a wall, but a black void that stretched into infinity. The erasure had a home. The air filled with a chorus of soft cries. Small, pale hands clawed up through the cracking floor, attached to children with no faces. Their mouths stretched wide. Greater than, let us return. Let us exist. Trade places. Akira felt himself being dragged. He clawed desperately at the ground, nails splitting, palms bleeding. Mina, he cried out. A faint voice responded from the darkness below. Greater than, Akira? Akira looked down. Mina's face emerged from the abyss. Her features incomplete, fading, yet still drenched in tears. Greater than, I don't want to be alone down here. Akira's eyes burned. Mina, hold on, I'll save you. But she gently shook her head. Greater than, you can't save me. Not anymore. Ayame approached, touching her cold fingertips to Akira's forehead. A reminder that he was already halfway erased. Greater than, if you simply forget her, you can go back to a peaceful life. Akira shouted, voice cracking in fury. No, I won't forget. No one deserves to vanish like this. Ayame's face twisted. Cracks spread like lightning across her skin. Greater than, then you will share their fate. The void roared, pulling harder. Desks toppled over. The entire room shook as the Forgotten screamed. Greater than, join us. Mina's tears fell into the abyss, dissolving midair. Greater than, I'm scared. But I don't want you here with me. Akira? Akira was stunned. Mina? She whispered a final plea. Greater than, go back. Live. And remember us. Tears streamed down Akira's face. He tightened his grip, refusing to let go. But the darkness surged up like a tidal wave. And swallowed him whole. Mariko reached out in a last desperate lunge. Akira. His scream was cut short as he vanished. Into the abyss of erased souls. The blackness sealed over him. Silence fell. Ayame exhaled, triumphant. Greater than, just one more. And Class 2-4 will be complete. Chapter 13. Meeting Class 2-4. Akira expected to feel pain when he fell, but instead, there was nothing. No sensation. No weight. As if the world itself had let go of him. When he finally opened his eyes, he was standing, somehow, in a classroom. But it was not the same classroom as before. This one was like a corpse drained of light. Broken desks stacked like gravestones. Flickering lights emitting a sickly blue glow. Walls peeling and scarred by fingernails. No windows. No doors. Only a chalkboard hung at the front. A gaping black wound in the wall. Suddenly, tiny sobs echoed through the room. Akira's breath caught. Seated in the chairs were children. The Forgotten. Class 2-4. Their once faceless heads now slowly formed features. Like memories stitching them back together. One child stood up, eyes hollow but hopeful. Greater than, thank you, for remembering us. Another voice, shaking with emotion. Greater than, we were scared in the dark. We didn't want to be forgotten. Their words trembled with years of pain. Akira's throat tightened. You're Class 2-4? Soft nods. Tears of chalk and blood. A shadow moved at the front of the class. A woman stood at the teacher's desk. Ms. Ayame. But she looked far more broken than before. Cracks covered her pale skin. Dust fell from her every movement. Her smile was carved too deep, like a fragile mask ready to shatter. Her voice, two tones layered over each other, echoed like a haunting lullaby. Greater than, welcome back, Akira. This is the class that cannot be erased. Akira glared at her, shaking with rage. You trapped them. You destroyed them. Ayame's grin stretched wider. Greater than, no. Forgetting destroyed them. I saved them from the world that chose to erase them. Akira clenched his fists. What really happened to them? Ayame ran her fingers lovingly across the dusty desks. Greater than, adults didn't want to believe in what they feared. When the class disappeared, they erased the records, erased the names, erased the truth. The children's voices whispered together. Greater than, we disappeared because everyone else let us. Akira looked at their desperate faces, each one wanting to be remembered. He wanted to scream, to cry, to claim he would remember them all. Then, from the shadows behind the chalkboard, a familiar figure stepped forward. Mina. Incomplete. Eyes dim but still fighting. Tears staining her broken cheeks. Akira, she whispered. Akira ran to her and embraced her tightly. Mina, I won't leave you ever again. But Mina gently pushed him away, shaking her head. Greater than, you can't stay here. You must go back and remember us. Ayame slammed her fist onto the desk. Greater than, no one leaves this class. Not again. We only need one more to complete attendance. The chalkboard behind her suddenly flashed. Greater than Akira Shimizu, missing. Mariko, to be erased. Class 2 to 4, almost complete. Akira stepped in front of Mina, glaring. I won't join your cursed class. And I won't let you erase Mariko. Ayame hissed, voice splitting into a cruel chorus. Greater than, then write your name. Accept your seat, or she will replace you. A blood-red piece of chalk dropped into Akira's hand. His fingers trembled. Behind him, the children of class 2 to 4 anxiously whispered. Greater than, please. Set us free? Ayame leaned closer, her voice a jagged shriek. Greater than, write it. Akira breathed shakily, then dragged the chalk across the board. Greater than A-Y-A-M-E. Ayame's smile faltered. Her body jolted, cracks spreading like shattered porcelain. The children gasped, hopeful and terrified. Ayame screamed, her voice no longer human. Greater than, no. You cannot erase me. But she began to crumble, like chalk being scraped away by a ruthless hand. The board flashed one final time. Greater than Ayame, erased. Her body dissolved into dust. The dust of broken promises and forgotten nightmares. The screaming faded. Silence fell. Then, a violent force grabbed Akira from behind, ripping him away from the children. From Mina. From the abyss. Mina reached out, tears streaming. Greater than, live. And remember us? Akira's scream echoed into the void. Until everything went dark. Chapter 14. The Rebellion of the Erased Souls. Darkness swallowed Akira once again, but this time, he didn't fall. He stood back inside the shadowed classroom underground. The air vibrated with trembling breaths, sobs turning into something sharper. The erased children no longer looked helpless. Their faces, once blank, were now contorted with anger and betrayal. Tears of chalk streaked down their cheeks as they formed a protective circle around Akira. One boy stepped forward, clarity in his newly restored eyes. Greater than, we don't want to be trapped anymore. A girl beside him clenched her fists. Greater than, we want to be remembered. Not imprisoned. Ayame appeared again, but she was no longer whole. Her limbs were cracked like fractured porcelain. Pieces of chalk fell from her with each step. Her voice screeched like broken glass. Greater than, stop this. You owe me your existence. The class flinched, a reflex born of fear from years under her rule. Ayame snarled. Greater than, the living never cared about you. They let you disappear. Silence. Then a weak but determined voice rose from the group. Greater than, that's why we are freeing ourselves. Ayame's eyes flared in fury. Black voids swirling. Greater than, you are nothing without me. Nothing without memory. Another child spoke, tears trembling. Greater than, maybe. But we'd rather be nothing than your prisoners. Ayame screamed, an inhuman roar. Greater than traitors. She lunged toward Akira. But dozens of small hands reached out. Not to grab Akira, but to hold Ayame back. The erased children chanted, their unified voices shaking the darkness. Greater than, erase the eraser. Let memory return. Ayame writhed violently, her face splitting with rage. Greater than, no, no, you cannot erase me. I am the only one who remembered you. A crack split the ceiling. Light poured in like a divine blade. The children lifted their arms toward it. Their rebellion had begun. Ayame begged, her voice suddenly terrified. Greater than, don't forget me. Please. I don't want to disappear. Her body crumbled faster. Dust swirling into the air like lost chalk. A child stepped forward, whispering the final verdict. Greater than, you made forgetting a torture? And now you'll taste it too. Ayame's scream dissolved into silence. She was erased. Completely. The ground shook violently. The abyss collapsing around them. Light exploded across the space, like dawn breaking through a nightmare. A girl, her aura soft like a lingering memory, reached out. Greater than, go back. Akira? The surface needs you. Mina. Her smile was weak but real. Akira grabbed her hand tightly. Mina, come with me, please. But she gently let go, sadness shimmering in her eyes. Greater than, this is our home now. We finally have our faces back. Akira's voice cracked. I don't want to forget you. Mina cupped his cheek, cold but comforting. Greater than, you won't. You remember us because you care. The children pushed Akira upward. Toward the light. Toward life. Their last words echoed like a prayer. Greater than, live. Remember us. Don't let the world erase us again. Akira's vision blurred. Tears mixing with light. Then. He was gone. A peaceful hush fell over the underground classroom. For the first time in years. The forgotten. Felt free. Chapter 15, the one replaced. Akira gasped as he opened his eyes. Back on the third floor hallway. Right in front of room 4. His clothes were torn. His hands scraped and bleeding. But he could breathe again. He was alive. The chains on the classroom door rattled softly in the wind. Had it all really happened? Mariko stood nearby, pale, shaken, staring at Akira as though seeing a ghost. Tears welled in her eyes. Greater than, you came back. That means Ayame, she's really gone. A bittersweet relief coated her voice. Akira grabbed her shoulders. Mina, where is she? And the class, they're still down there. Mariko lowered her gaze. Guilt twisting her expression. Greater than, they can't come back. But they're free now. Finally free. Akira's heart shattered. The way Mina had looked at him, her last smile. It all rushed back like waves of knives. Before he could say more, the school staff arrived. Their shocked gasps filled the corridor. Greater than, the boy, he's alive. Akira frowned. What kind of question was that? Of course he was alive. Are you Akira Shimizu? A teacher asked cautiously. Akira blinked, confused. Yes, who else would I be? The staff exchanged uneasy looks. The homeroom teacher held a printed attendance list. Greater than, there is no Akira Shimizu in this school. Akira's blood froze. His chest tightened. He turned to Mariko, seeking an anchor. But she was holding her breath, trembling. Wait, your memory is wrong, Akira insisted. I'm in class 3-2. My seat is where Ken's was, and then Mina. Silence. Empty desks. Empty memories. No one remembered Ken. No one remembered Mina. No one remembered him. Akira's head spun. He staggered toward a mirror on the wall. And nearly collapsed. Greater than his reflection was fading. Edges of his figure flickered. His name, dissolving from the world. Mariko choked out a whisper. Greater than, no. The board must have chosen. A new teacher. A deafening scratch sounded inside room 4. Everyone jumped back. The chalkboard glowed from within, a sinister pulse. And a message appeared on the dusty window. Greater than thank you for taking my place. Mariko. Mariko flinched, agony twisting her face as cracks split across her skin, white chalk dust spilling out of her hair and clothing. She stared at Akira with eyes full of apologies. Greater than, forgive me. But the class always needs a teacher. Her body collapsed into a pile of chalk shavings. The staff screamed and fled. Akira fell to his knees, tears blurring the world. Greater than, no. No. Don't erase me. Please remember me? Then, a soft, familiar whisper curled around his ear. Greater than, we remember you. Akira? Mina's voice. And Ken's. And dozens of others. The forgotten class remembered him. A final message burned into the chalkboard inside the room. Greater than new homeroom teacher. Akira Shimizu. His fate sealed. Not erased. But replaced. Akira pressed his shaking hand against the locked door of room 4. Mina. I won't forget you. The corridor fell silent. The chalkboard inside room 4 responded with a single line. Greater than the class that writes your death. Is always open. Lights flickered. Chains rattled. And behind the door, something waited for its new teacher. The curse was not broken. It simply chose a new keeper. Akira Shimizu now stands between the living and the erased. A teacher to the souls abandoned by memory. If a name appears on the board again, the nightmare will continue. So if you ever pass by a locked classroom and hear a faint scratching of chalk in the dark, greater than do not turn around. Do not speak your name. And above all, never open the door. Because in room 4, greater than the class is always waiting for someone new.
Like and subscribe to Whispering Dark Tales for more chilling ghost stories.